Hi, everyone. Welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. I am at the Ocean View Inn and Suites in Crescent City, California. And this video was intended to have already been put up on my YouTube channel, but I had to redo it to stay out of YouTube purgatory. So be patient with me as I work around some constraints in bringing information to you. Before I get started on tonight's topic, I did want to say thank you very much if you're a new subscriber. And I wanted to give you a heads up. If you are a new subscriber, you may have to subscribe to my channel more than one time. For whatever reason, we can speculate all day about what that might be. People do find that they have to more than one time subscribe. And if you have to, I really appreciate that you go to the trouble. You may also notice that even though you sign up for notifications, you don't get them. Just know that I rarely go more than one day without putting something up. So you should be able to check in on me regularly, even if you don't get the notifications, but hopefully you will. Hopefully it's just a matter of, making your wishes known and it'll happen. Then one other thing, there are scammers out there that are trying to claim to be me as well as other important tarot readers, not that I'm important, and they claim to be me and offering private readings. Please, I do not solicit private readings. In fact, I usually pass along a recommendation for someone else. So I don't ever, if you see that in any of my comments, that is not me, please report those comments immediately to YouTube. And don't worry, it's not me. Okay. All right. Well, tonight, again, remember, I've got some constraints here. I wanted to do something. Last week, there was a sentencing. Someone got 20 years in prison for this offense. You with me so far? Okay. Well, numerous people have said, what about the clients? Including Elon Musk in Twitter. He had a Twitter tweet about that. And it's a very good question. That is exactly the kind of question the universe can answer for us. Okay, stay with me here. It's not a big rabbit trail. There are executive orders that are still in place that the Biden administration has not been able to do away with, that do confirm that a crime against humanity, and that's what that offense is punishable in military courts of law, military tribunals. Military tribunals aren't just for people who are elected officials and active duty military. If there's a crime against humanity, they can also be subject to that kind of legal proceeding, which currently in our country is the most unbiased and impartial recourse for having your day in court. Okay, so I have a theory. Since that conviction has been upheld, the sentencing has been completed. We know that the client list, the judge overseeing that original case said, oh, I'm not going to release those names. It wouldn't be good. And which was, again, I said you have to be in a military court to get some justice these days. So it kind of all spoke to me about some of those names. I have a theory that because those were crimes against humanity that were committed, that client list is already being processed. So I want to ask the universe about that. The client list for that convicted felon that's being kept out of the public eye. I want to ask, is it true that military courts are handling many of those cases via military tribunal? And in the near future, I'm going to be asking the universe to give me some information about what percentage either have been or will be dealt with via military tribunal. So if we'll see what we get. Okay, I have a theory. My intuition is speaking to me. Let's see what the cards have to say, and I'll abide by the universe as always. 1 second. Our first card, 7 of Wands. Then we have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the Emperor, 4 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, 5 of Cups. Let's talk about that layout in just a second. I'll switch the camera back. Well, here's what the cards have to tell us. Now, I often get questions about this particular layout that I'm using, which is called a Kachina knife. I'm going to quickly point out what the different cards are. If you notice, I always lay them out in the same order. We have either the question or the situation. The questioner, querent is what that's called, or the situation here. And this clarifies the first card. Then in the middle row, unless we specify different, and if you recall in this reading, I did ask for a percentage that might be known to us. Okay, we have the near past, present, and near future. Now these cards on either side of the future card are either our advice or a little more clarification, depending on how we're framing what information we're seeking from the universe. Then when I lay any more on top of that, those are just providing a little more depth to the reading. So they kind of continue these last 2 cards. Okay? So that way, if you're trying to do tarot at home or you pause my video, you'll know the order I set them out. I will almost always, unless I announce it ahead of time, use this spread because it fits in a camera very well and gets you some depth to your reading without taking all day. So let's look at this reading. Okay, we the people asking this question are indicated by this card. This Wands card, I like it. He is in a position of strength as far as where he's located, but he's got overwhelming foes here and he doesn't look overwhelmed or daunted. So he's got the high ground and he's keeping it and using it to his best advantage. And if you think about it, it's kind of reassuring to us that it says we've got the high ground here. We who are worried, are these clients going to face accountability? Or are they going to be able to have their fellow elites help them out of trouble? So we're wondering about this. And I said, the basic question is, are they going to be dealt with by military tribunal? And the Ace of Pentacles is a huge yes on that. Okay, it's also bolstered by the recent past. Our Emperor card is almost always my Mr. T card. And the Emperor, so if you are aware of things I've discussed in past videos, I believe that Mr. T is still very much a force to be reckoned with and is quietly part of a shadow government and constitutionally part of a shadow government. And we'll see as things unfold how correct I am on that, but I feel really certain about it. Okay, so realizing that the judicial system was as twisted was, they did want to get that conviction in the civil courts, but then the client list is being dealt with. Now, so at the present, we've got the 4 of Pentacles. And so they're being a little miserly about the information. They have to be very confidential. Okay, but rest assured, people, they haven't expanded the spas around the planet for no good reason. Okay, if you've done even a little bit of searching, you can find that there are prison barges outside New York, in New York Harbor. There are lots of indications that things are happening. And the mainstream isn't going to report it until they absolutely have to. And the alliance or white hats are using that to their advantage. Okay, while there's radio silence, they're getting a lot of stuff done. I truly believe that. So they're keeping things kind of close to the chest, as they do. Now, I asked if we could have some kind of an idea of percentage of who's going to be dealt with on that client list by military tribunal. And with the 10 here in the near future, that tells me almost all of them are going to be facing military tribunals. And if you haven't seen my video about those, you might want to go back and watch that. Military tribunals don't have the lengthy appeal process that is found with civilian courts. And evidence can be presented that may not have been, that they maybe have been able to keep out of a civilian court, but it can be presented in military trials and used. And you have a panel of judges, that military judges, 3 to 7, that render a decision. And that's it. So, and I know a little of this because when I served in the National Guard, I was a court reporter and had to go to the military justice school and get just a basic foundation of, military legal processes. So if you wonder, how does she know what she knows, besides the fact that you can Google it and figure it out too, I do have that background way from many decades ago. But anyway, it helps me understand the process. And I find it very refreshing that criminals aren't going to be able to bypass and draw out for decades their convictions and their sentencing. Okay, so we have an agreement card providing a little more information. And this tells me that the courts are working in agreement with other authorities to have this done. It's sad. It is a sad day that we have to have military courts handing out the justice that's needed to be done from civilian courts. Hopefully, those days are going to come to an end, and our civilian courts will have the same integrity that we find with the military ones. Let's go ahead and look at a couple other cards and get some more information. Okay, we've got our thief card here. And Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so despite the fact that they're trying to get away with stuff, we've got the Mr. Prince A over in the UK was hoping to buy his way out and have a mommy avatar help him and stuff, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be working. The judicial wheels are in process. Thank you, Mr. T. White Hats and Alliance. Those clients should not be able to be future clients. They should be held accountable for their actions. They knew better. They knew better. And we need to live in a world where no one is above the law. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Your time is precious, and I hope that you enjoy the video and the rest of your day. And thank you so much for subscribing and being part of what I do here on YouTube. Good night.